The price falls 10%. You tell yourself it will recover. It falls 20%. Now selling feels impossible. Because selling would not merely close a position. It would force you to admit that the original decision was wrong. So you wait. Then something strange happens. The lower the price goes, the more emotionally attached you become. This is not patience, and it is not conviction. It is a psychological trap that can turn a manageable loss into a permanent one. To understand it, imagine that you bought a stock for $100. A month later, it trades at $70. There are only two questions that should matter now. What is the investment worth today? And what are the best available choices for the money that remains? But that is rarely how the mind evaluates the situation. Instead, one number dominates everything: $100. That purchase price becomes a reference point. The mind treats it as a destination the stock is somehow supposed to revisit. 70 feels temporary. 100 feels normal. But the market does not know what you paid. It has no memory of your entry price and no obligation to return your money. Your purchase price matters to you. It does not matter to the asset. This is where two powerful biases begin working together. The first is the sunk cost fallacy. Once we invest money, time, or identity into a choice, abandoning it feels like wasting everything already spent. The rational response is simple. Costs that cannot be recovered should not control the next decision. The emotional response is very different. I have already lost too much to stop now. The second force is loss aversion. A realized loss feels more painful than an unrealized loss, even when the financial result is identical. As long as you do not sell, the loss can still be described as temporary. It exists on a screen, but not yet in the story you tell about yourself. Selling changes that story. It converts hope into evidence. It closes the escape route, and it threatens something more sensitive than your portfolio, your image of yourself as a competent decision maker. That is why people often become more committed after receiving bad news. They search for optimistic forecasts. They dismiss critical analysis. They join communities where everyone owns the same asset and repeats the same reassuring arguments. This feels like research. Often, it is emotional pain management. The position is no longer being judged. It is being defended. Notice the asymmetry. If you had never owned the investment, you might look at its current price, its risks, and its prospects with reasonable objectivity. But once it enters your portfolio, it acquires a personal history. You remember why you bought it. You remember telling someone it was a good opportunity. Perhaps you even imagine what the profit would buy. Selling means surrendering not only the asset, but also that imagined future. So how can you tell whether you are acting from conviction or attachment? Use the zero position test. Imagine that you wake up tomorrow with no position and the current value sitting in cash. Knowing everything you know today, would you buy this investment at its current price? Not at the price you paid. At today's price. If the answer is no, holding it requires a very strong explanation. Because choosing to hold and choosing to buy are economically similar decisions. In both cases, you are deciding where your money should be invested from this moment forward. The past cannot make that decision for you. There is a second test. Before buying anything, write down the conditions that would prove your original idea wrong. Not a random price movement. A genuine break in the thesis. Deteriorating fundamentals, excessive debt, a lost competitive advantage, or evidence that your original assumptions were false. Do this before emotion enters the position. Otherwise, the mind will quietly rewrite the rules after every piece of bad news. Finally, separate the quality of a decision from its outcome. A careful decision can lose money. A reckless decision can make money. One result does not prove that the process was good or bad. Your goal is not to avoid ever being wrong. That goal is impossible. Your goal is to recognize when new information changes the odds and to respond without protecting your ego. The most dangerous investment may not be the one losing the most money. It may be the one you can no longer evaluate honestly. The next time you hear yourself say, "I will sell when it gets back to my purchase price," stop and ask a different question. If I did not own this today, would I still choose it? That question will not eliminate losses, but it can prevent yesterday's decision from controlling tomorrow's money. This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice.